चलिए okay. Okay, so you have got the model answer, Chirag? Okay, so today we will try to take the session of society paper answers and analysis which we have done already, but we will try to take the answers. We will try to explain the answers in the simpler terms, or what should have been the approach to the questions, and you know how you fetch more marks. So this is the syllabus. Okay, this is right now not a concern to us. Okay, the question is that do you think marriage as a sacrament is losing its value in modern society? So sacrament means what? What is the meaning of sacrament? It means something religious. Okay, yes. So if we will try to consider, you see that here it is the importance of the fundamental knowledge that you must have. So in this case, sacrament means the duties. पहले पढ़ा था ना हमने कि भाई शादी करने के बाद आपको पितृ ऋण से मुक्ति मिलती है. Okay, and more importantly, child procreation is one of the most important reason for the marriage or function of the marriage. So this is how we will understand the meaning of sacrament. Now, why it is changing, how it is changing, into what context it is changing. So we have to have basic understanding of marriage. So in this case, we have just written the things that it was marriage in the ancient form was derived from Dharma Shastras. It was the dharma, artha and kama. So it tried to fulfill all these parts. More importantly, it established social order, reinforced hierarchy and ensure continuation of the lineage. Okay. Further, ancestral practice integrate individual with the culture and larger societal order. Economic alliance between the families involving dowries and property rights, reinforces caste boundaries and hierarchies, reinforces patriarchal norms, often limiting female agencies, prescriptive with religious texts and leader often dictated marital norms, derived from religious and customary law, and it was of limited, the woman's educations and woman thing was of limited influence. Now, what is changing? What has changed? So you have to give the contemporary aspect. Now, if you will understand this, then you will understand that what are the changes we are talking about. If you have the fundamental knowledge, then you will be able to substantiate it with data. This is the whole purpose. Now, so what is the contemporary knowledge of the marriage? That it is increasingly influenced by global concepts of individual rights, love and personal fulfillment. In the initial period, it was based on the duty. So now when we are saying duty versus individual freedom, okay, so probably of late society is moving more towards individualism. Okay, so that effective individualism means that your choices of the marriage is decided by what? Individual will, effective, the emotions. The marriage is not dictated by parents now. Even if you are going for the traditional sense of the marriage that is decided by parents, so you have your own say. Initially this say was missing. Now it is more of the marriage of the convenience, that doctor will get married to doctor. Okay, for that matter IAS will get married to marriage, और IAS का तो वैसे भी कोई caste नहीं होता. So the caste boundaries and caste rigidities are decreasing. So the sacramental senses of the marriage, that scaredness of the marriage is reducing. Now there is this trend towards the symmetric nuclear family. That is, it is the family. The marriage is based on mutual respect in the husband and wife, personal compatibility and shared aspirations, isn't it? Do you think that was the condition before? No. So if the marriage is changing, all these things will change. Now it is also a tradition of mixture of emphasis on personal significance. You got this point that if you are living in Bangalore, okay, so one will try to get someone who is already residing in Bangalore, isn't it? So economic independence of individual, that is also. पहले क्या था, पापा ने जैसे बोला शादी कर लो जी, ठीक है, पापा देखते रहेंगे, है ना. Mutual financial decisions, declining importance of dowry, increasing intercaste marriage, and increasingly egalitarian kind of relationship. Okay. So, in fact, now the agency of the woman is also important. Women are already also having a say in the marriages. So, we are shifting a trend, we are witnessing a shift towards trend from duty to individual, duty to aspirations. So, when the sense of the duty will reduce, automatically we can understand that the sacramental nature of the marriage is decreasing or losing its significance. But at the same time, due to the strengthened or strong sense of patriarchal society, it is not reducing that much. The most important factor of within the caste marriage, okay, that is caste endogamy, is still practiced, which is shaped or which is reinforcing the notion of sacredness of the marriage. In the previous period, there was no divorces. We witnessed divorce this time. There are incidences of divorce, but the second marriage is never generally that successful. So all these points has to be addressed, and it has to be substantiated with data for a complete answer. You got the point that you have to have the understanding of both fundamental concept as well as the changing reality. Then you will be able to write a complete answer. Okay, I believe that most of these things is given in the model answer, but if not, then this PDF will be uploaded on the YouTube website also. Second part, second question, explain why suicide among young women is increasing in the Indian society. So, here we have to identify the points and we have to substantiate these points with the data. So, what can be the points? Patriarchal society, marital status, dowry related violence, academic pressure, mental stigma, limited access to counseling, economic challenges, social isolation, unrealistic societal expectations, digital age pressures. ठीक है, these are the points. अब डेटा कहाँ से आएगा भाई इसको जस्टिफाई करने के लिए? Patriarchal society. See, most of a significant number of the suicide is related to marriage related problems or the atrocities which is done in the home. डेटा दे सकते हैं आप NCRB से, है ना? Marital distress, double jeopardy or double duty. See, they are working in the home, they are working in the office. When they are coming from the office, they are against, they have the double burden. More importantly, their labor is not appreciated. Okay, home labor is not appreciated. They face various kind of restrictions and disabilities from the husband. Okay, third, dowry related, clear-cut data is there. See, the thing is that in most of the cases, due to the economic disparity, parents sometimes generally try to hush up the things. ठीक है, देख लो, समझ लो, चलता है. Because there is a stigma attached to divorce. So people don't generally opt for the divorce. Now, fourth, academic pressure. It is very clear. You see that sometimes even after your work and you get admitted in very good colleges, but the thing is that you are not able, culturally it is very different. So probably there are chances that you might not be able to cope with the academic pressure as well as maintaining different kind of pressure. And if you will see that the highest drop down rate, that attrition rate is very high is in the STEM sectors in India. Nearly, and just try to relate it with the midlife crisis. That most of the women generally at the age of 26, they started dropping out of the academic courses from the 26 age. है ना? Mental health stigma, पागल है, asthma है. Okay. So you see that individuality is not appreciated. है ना? कोई शायद मूवी का डायलॉग था, प्रेमी है, पागल है, ठीक है. Everything is not appreciated in India. See, probably if you are asserting your choices, if you are going for that, I have to want to marry someone of my choice. So प्रेमी हो आप. So everything is not, such kind of thing, individual behavior is not appreciated. Now, limited access to the counseling. you know about the conditions of the psychiatric health in India. Only 0.12% of the doctors are available, that too in the urban sector. There is a lot of disparity. Social isolation. You know, you are living in a PG, okay, and you are going to the work. If you are very open up, then you will be against unrealistic societal expectations. You see that the culture of the television and the culture of the internet has created a kind of conditions in which the demeanor of the woman, you know, how they carry themselves is set very high. हर कोई सीरियल की बहू की तरह साड़ी पहन के नहीं रह सकती ना घर पे. Okay, so but you know, watching this kind of thing, you appreciate, expect someone to behave in that way, which is not possible or not feasible at all. So this creates the conditions for, and more importantly, you know, there is one point which is just missing, and this is very important point. That was very important point, which was see, the thing is, you know, sexual harassment, violence against the woman. Only, even if it is by word, then it creates kind of distortion. Digital age pressure, another important point. Cyberbullying, cyber extortions, all these points can be converged into this. As the command was discussed, so you have to write the points also. Now, what are the policies which is taken by the government? Helplines like Kiran. Okay, Manusmriti. So you can write about that. Now we will come to third question. It was a bit obvious in the nature because child cuddling is now being replaced by mobile phones. Discuss the impact of social on the socialization of the children. So you see, again, there has to be a tradition, comparative aspect of the question. What was the condition before and what is the condition now? So this is the biological factor that, you know, oxytocin is there. You know, so this kind of exposure to screen might lead to understimulation of regions in the brain, empathy, emotional regulation, and task orientation skills. Okay. Child cuddling, you know, वो पेरेंट्स नहीं करते थे वो कडल बच्चों को छोटे में. अब तो बच्चे पेरेंट्स बच्चों के हाथ में मोबाइल दे देते हैं ना. तो भाई खाना खाते वक्त पहले क्या था, जॉइंट फैमिली हुआ करती थी, सब लोग देखने वाले थे. अब तो पेरेंट्स खुद भी बिजी है ना, तो थोड़ी सी हेलीकॉप्टर पेरेंटिंग हो गई है, नहीं है. घर पे सीसीटीवी लग गया, ठीक है, आपके बच्चा क्या कर रहा है आप सीसीटीवी में देख रहे हो, आप स्कूल की सीसीटीवी में देख रहे हो आपका बच्चा क्या कर रहा है. तो हेलीकॉप्टर पेरेंटिंग ही तो है ना, ठीक है. और उस केस में टाइम कहाँ है, पर्टिकुलरली अगर डुअल कैरियर फैमिलीज हैं जहाँ पे हस्बैंड और वाइफ ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, और पेरेंट्स भी जनरली जो ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स भी होते जल्दी आना नहीं चाहते किसी नए लोकेशन पे, तो पेरेंट्स, बच्चे तो अकेले पढ़ रहे हैं, और कैसे पढ़ रहे हैं, मोबाइल फोन के थ्रू पढ़ रहे हैं ना. तो कडलिंग यहाँ पे ये आया. तो आपको दो व्यूज चाहिए ना, कि पहले क्या था कि भाई आप साथ में रहा करते थे, सबके साथ फिजिकल टच खेला करते थे, तो बहुत सारी चीजें हुआ करती थी. अब वो सारी चीजें नहीं है. तो आप देख लो आज के बच्चे थोड़े से चिड़चिड़े टाइप के ज्यादा हो जाते हैं, जल्दी से, है ना, किसी चीज पे इनको टास्क और किसी चीज पे ध्यान करने में लगाने में उतना केसेस नहीं लगता है. और साइकेट्रिक डिजीज कॉल्ड ADHD भी बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ रही है बच्चों में, यही कारण है ना. नाउ इमोशनल एंड सोशियो साइकोलॉजिकल सोशल डेवलपमेंट, फिजिकल बॉन्डिंग हाइटन्स फीलिंग ऑफ एंजाइटी, डिप्रेशन और लोनलीनेस है, ठीक है. ओवर रिलायंस ऑन डिजिटल इंटरेक्शन कैन इम्पीड द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ genuine इमोशनल connections. Oh, okay, that part is फिजिकल इंटरेक्शन कैन हेल्प, नॉन वर्बल कम्युनिकेशन है, साथ में पढ़ते हैं. मैन इज द एनिमल इन द वर्ल्ड एंड विद द वर्ल्ड, साथ वाले बच्चों को देख के सीखते हैं. मोबाइल से वो वाला कॉन्शियसनेस तो मिसिंग हो जाएगा ना, ठीक है. आप हर चीज पे मोबाइल, तो आपको बचपन में पहले क्या था भाई, आप सब्जी खरीदने जाया करते थे, वहां पे आपने वो निगोशिएट करके मैथ सीख लिया करते थे नो. अब तो सब्जी खरीदने जा ही नहीं रहे, अब तो स्विगी है, इंस्टामार्ट है, ठीक है. तो आप तो कैलकुलेट भी नहीं करना पड़ रहा है ना आपको, आप सीधे पूछते गूगल से या एलेक्सा से, इतने इतने ऐड करके बताओ, ये ऑर्डर कर दो, वो ऑर्डर कर दो. तो आप बाहर तो निकल ही नहीं रहे हो ना. तो ये सारे पॉइंट्स तो वही है कि भाई ट्रेडिशनल व्यू क्या था, इंटरेक्शन ऑफेंस, कल्चरल वैल्यूज, मोरल जो पार्ट था. आज की डेट में वो सारी चीजें मिसिंग है, ठीक है. कल्चरल वैल्यूज भी नहीं आ रही, ठीक है. और सिक्योर सेंस ऑफ सिक्योरिटी भी नहीं है, बच्चे थोड़े आइसोलेटेड टाइप से डेवलप हो रहे हैं, कोई एक कल्चर के साथ इंटीग्रेटेड नहीं हो रहे। एडवांटेज क्या है? एडवांटेज ये है कि भाई यू आर नोइंग मेनी कल्चर्स, ठीक है, एट द सेम टाइम यू आर अवेयर ऑफ द राइट्स, है ना, वो राइट्स को लेके बहुत सेंसिटिव है आज की डेट में बच्चे। हाँ, that this is mine, this is yours. That part is very much important. Okay, though we are developing in isolation, and the children are developing in isolation, but they are very much aware about the cultures of the world. So choices जो है वो develop sense में हो रही कि what we have to accept and what we have to reject. But it is leading towards more dehumanization. They are not caring for, they are not attached with many persons. Okay. So what are the insights in this question that we need to have this will be a problem. This will remain a problem because we have to adapt to the changing realities. Okay, so this is the part that you can write the analysis in this case because the question was discuss its impact. Okay, so you have to give a analysis that how much holistic socialization is needed, which is based on emotional, social, cognitive, and physical domains. Okay, so this is the part that we have to create a balancing act. We have to force towards the redefinition of the social norms, and we have to understand the local versus global debate. Ultimately, at some point of time, the local wala part to realize ho jata hai. More importantly, if you will see now, so कुछ भी होता है, बस एक जो इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होती है फूड हैबिट, it is the biggest example of ethnic behavior. So even if you will go to United States, you will search for dosa if you are a South Indian, and you are searching for dosa in the North India. आप Rajendra देख लो, there are so many places where there are regional foods is served, and ultimately these creates are millennials only. है ना, तो ethnicity, so as you develop, as you grow in the age, so food is one of the things which is very important. You cannot survive on sandwiches and burgers, for more than a week or maybe something like that. Okay, so we have to understand that part also. Now, discuss how urbanizations lead to more segregation and marginalization of the poor in Indian metropolis. Question समझ गए आप? See, segregation for every South Delhi, there are some sarais or there are some slums. Okay, for every South Bombay, there is always Dharavi. There will be Dharavi. Okay, so what is the point is that the segregation, and in this question you can go on analyzing everything from migration to urban behaviors, to unplanned urbanization, okay, to peri-urbanization, everything will be there. Okay, so this is a question where there are so many points which can be written, but in this question the spatial segregation has to be highlighted. Why? Because of the economic disparity, access to the basic amenities, cultural marginalization, job market polarization, and economic injustices. Cultural marginalization leads in ghettoization. You must have about the ghetto. Okay, so you see, just consider all these areas of Jamia Nagar, Hamdard Nagar. Okay, and probably when there is a security threat, the people from other areas also come to these places to be with persons like them. Okay, so they want to identify with their person, their kind of behavior. So so this is lead to cultural marginalization as well as crystallizations of attitude among the different cultures. Okay, so ultimately it will lead to social exclusion. Now, you have to give the data, and when you will give the data, you will talk about the peri-urbanization area. You talk about the migration pattern of migration, how the pattern of migration is changing, and as well welcoming new labors. Okay, so and these labors are not appreciated and they live on the periphery or margins of the society. Okay, and they don't have that much income. State is not providing income. What is the status of the construction worker? Even with the construction board, they are not given the total benefits. So and more importantly, the thing is, here one of the most important, the segregation is by choice also. You see that when a formal sector worker comes to a place like Delhi, And if he knows that he have to live in Delhi for maybe 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years. What can be the number? Or probably one has to go to Bombay. So, he understand that we have to live for this long and we have to live for the lab job. So, he will work in a sector, he will join some kind of organization, okay, he will bring his family back here, Delhi or Bombay, and he will try to buy some kind of property. Okay. Why? Because he is feeling that he belongs to that place. And that place is giving him employment. And that place will give his children opportunities. So he want to be in that place, particularly in the metropolis. Now compare this with the informal sector worker. They are basically they are living on the household kind of thing. They are not living in the home kind of thing. So they are living in the household kind of thing. Their cultural affiliation is with their place of residence, original residence. Okay, this is just a temporary arrangement for them. And this temporary arrangement can be of 5 or 6 years also. Okay, so basically they are the seasonal migrant. Or probably during the cropping seasons they will go to their home. So they are the seasonal migrants. Affinity is not developed with such kind of places. So ultimately they are residing or they are looking for some avenues, opportunities where the place is cheap. And such kind of tendencies leads to the development of the slum also. More pressure on the urban infrastructure. See, if he will identify this place, the government or the state for that matter will try to devise some kind of strategy. But that is not the reality. So, urbanization is leading to more segregation and marginalization. But at the same time, consider the reverse. There is a 16th century proverb called urban area makes free air. In 60s, there was a movement of the scheduled caste people towards the urban area. Because in urban areas, the traditional identity is not there. In urban areas, the gender constraints is not that high. And there are opportunities. There are avenues for the development. So when they migrate to urban areas, in the beginning they work at a lower wages, but eventually they rise up in the hierarchy. And just they considers new rights, they come to know about the new rights or the social welfare and such kind of thing. So when they return to their place of origin, so they bring these values to rural areas also. And eventually as urbanization is spreading to the new area, these values which they learned from Delhi, Bombay or other metropolis is percolating down to that area. That they will not work under the same caste conditions which they used to work before. That's why we see that there is increase in the caste violences also, because there is a section which want to protect their interests and these people want to resist the interest or bring new kind of thing. Such the transformation or percolation of values from metropolis to other urban areas is called social remittance. So you have to write this point also and you have to support for this point with the data, because you see that in the vicinity of the Delhi, NCR developed. And this area is expanding also, by incorporating more and more class B and class C cities. So naturally the tendency towards the segregation and marginalization will change. So what's the way forward? That in the urban area, and yes, one more point. You see that when there was a conflict about deglobalization, or there was a trend towards the deglobalization, particularly in USA and such countries, France and such other countries, that people resisted the movement of migrant to in the other areas. So you see that cities like New York, cities like Istanbul, even in the face of religious extremities, Istanbul protested against the Erdogan regime. So when metropolis develops, people of multiple walk of life come and work at the same place without considering their traditional identities. So such cities becomes global cities. And in global cities, marginalization and incidences of migration and segregation are only based on the economic capacity, not on the traditional capacity. But if it is not regulated, a dystopian kind of city, Dharavi slum, okay, can develop. So we have to provide the basic amenities to the, even in the urban slums. And we have, by the government, you can name the multiple number of the policies which was enacted by the government of India to develop the infrastructural conditions in the urban area. So this is how you will approach the question. Okay, got my point? Now, the next question is very easy, but it is repeated over time. Okay, fluidity and statisticism of the caste. That caste is changing, caste is not changing. And if it is changing, then how it is changing? So you can compare about the historical structures, the occupational structures, the socio-political dynamics that caste as in groups, and particularly the last 3 points, caste as an associational group, caste as an pressure group, and caste as an identity group. So this is increasing much fluidity in the caste. Okay, even previously wars or Sanskritization created the conditions of the fluidity in the caste. Affirmative action is a feeling which is creating more constraint now, because people are developing their identities on the basis of identity group, and they are competing towards the limited interests or resources in the society. So affirmative action is also bringing the more static nature of the caste. Migration, urbanization, so all these things, you can write the points. It was one of the easiest questions, but it is flavorful because every year it is repeated in one form or another, maybe every alternate year. Okay, so I'm not going into the details of such question now. Yes, even in the, probably if we will talk that discuss the impact of, okay, this is the next question. Now, discuss the impact of post-liberal economy on ethnic identities and communalism. You see, there is this very famous literature in the sociology. I believe you often have sociology, no? Yes. The literature is about the cultural convergence, cultural hybridization. Okay, have you read that? Okay, so this is something written in that way. Cultural commodification, hybrid identities, diasporic identities, reassertions and reinventions. You see that there are two kinds of culture. Probably when Indian generally migrate to United States now. So what exactly happens is, largely they become, we call them the salad balls, so that they maintain their own identities, but the aspirations of the US society, the great American dream, is followed by the Indians. And eventually they become something Americanized in that way. Okay, so this is the part. So what is this tendency is towards the cultural assimilation or cultural convergence. Hybridization, paneer tikka wala pizza, that is the best example of hybridization. Okay, and assertion by the culture. Okay, which is this famous slogan during the Iraq war. Yes to democracy, yes to Islam. Yes to democracy, yes to Islam. Just wait a minute. Okay. Yes to democracy, yes to Islam, no to America, no to Saddam. So this is the case, and the reason in this case, if you will try to understand, is that cultural distinctness is also being maintained. Islam, you must have heard about the Samuel Huntington book. So he is saying that there will be a fight between Western aggression, Islamic intolerance, and cynic assertion. That Western, they think that their way is only right. They try to homogenize the world. And against this homogenization, religion takes its place. Religion becomes a medium so that people can bind around it. Ethnicity becomes a medium. Ethnicity becomes a medium. Globalization or neoliberal shift is trying to change the economy as well as the religion, the cultural practices. तभी आपने सुना होगा ना, फतवा कर दिया मोबाइल पे जीन्स पहनने पे, एंड दे आर वेरियल इश्यूज, मंदिर जो है कि ये पहन के आओ मत पहन के आओ. Religion is trying to revive itself, though using the mediums of globalization, neoliberal shift, particularly technology. Post 90s, if you will see, there was an increased number of loudspeakers or sound systems in temples and mosques alike. So they are using the technology, they are benefiting from the shifts towards this identity. More importantly, if you will see that the boundaries of the ethnicity is getting strong. Initially, one was used to be in the United States, one used to be in Hyderabad, so there was no way of communicating frequently. But now everyone talks about Tamil nationalism or Tamil regionalism, Telugu regionalism. Okay, or for that matter, this whatever is going on in Palestine, Gaza. So people are being identified by that way. So in this case of, you see that there was a celebration all across the world, particularly on the attack on the Israelis, people were celebrating in United States, Paris, or different parts of the countries. So you see, they are being identified by their ethnic parts. More importantly, due to globalization, if you will visit any other countries, okay, so you will try to be with someone who follows and shares your culture. So there is a Telugu group, there is a Gujarati group, there is a Marathi group in United States. Even in the universities, people interact with their own communities. Okay. So, see, the migration has increased. Before, people used to be only at one places. Now they are migrating to any other places and they are looking for their ethnic identities. So this is creating more important ethnic bonding. At the same time, religion is under attack. So religion is trying to reassert by the forms of religious revivalism. Religion had got the medium. So it is appealing to people across the borders by digital platforms, by increased radicalization, by the phenomena of internet Hindus, where even the Hindus of United States and different parts of the countries are following and teaching that, a Hindu should behave in this and this conditions. Okay. So such kind of tendencies is creating a trend towards increasing crystallization of attitude. So the question that post-liberal economic and ethnic identities and communalism, I believe that it is clear. The points are that impact of communalism, global religious medium, communal narrative, okay, political utilitarianism, double-A sword for globalizations, interplay of local and global. Okay, these were the points. Okay, so the thing is that again in this question there has to be a fundamental knowledge or idea about the globalization, that how it changes, what it changes, and you have to support it with the data. Only and only then you will be able to write a complete answer. isn't it? So this was the purpose of the discussion. I hope that it made sense to you. Okay. On that note, I will say thank you. Okay.